What are fats? Well, let's go through it. I bet you've heard of fats. I bet you've heard of fatty acids. And have you ever wondered whether carbs turn into fat? Well, we're going to go through those today. Well, fats come under the umbrella term lipids. And we want to think of lipids as the king, and his underlings are the princes, the nobles, the knights, and his servants. And so lipids comprise of fats, phospholipids, oils, sterols, and vitamins and minerals. Let's go through a quick example. Fats are solid at room temperature, such as butter. Oils are liquid at room temperature, such as olive oil. Phospholipids are found in our membranes, and also something called lecithin, or less of them, which is found in eggs. It's an emulsifier. There's also sterols, such as cholesterol, which is found in animals, and phytosterols, which is found in plants. And we can go into those in another video. And then we also have vitamins and minerals. Vitamins A, D, E, and K. They're what we call fat-soluble vitamins. So that's a bit of an overview of fats. So if you're like me, maybe you've got a bit of extra love around the stomach region and also the hips, and you want to understand what it all is and maybe how we can get rid of it. Let's see if we can go through that. So let's just say we go to the shops and we buy a steak. And on any steak, you'll see that white rim on the outside. That's fat. It's actually triglyceride. Okay, it's heaps of triglycerides together. So what is triglycerides? Well, a real easy way to understand digestion of fat, but the digestive system in general, is when we take something and we eat it and we chew it, we break it down into small things. Okay, but once we break it down into small things and we absorb it, we need to actually build those small things into big things. I'll give you an example. Have you ever watched a movie, maybe it's Terminator, or one movie where people are in the drain system and they go through the drains, they're getting chased by the bad guy or whatever, and they get to the end of the drain and there's like those prison bars and they've got to figure out a way to get through, or there's like a metal grate, you know, like a drain grate, and they've got to find the lock to get through. You ever seen a movie like that? Well, that's a perfect example of how the digestive system works. Is we want to break down small things to get through the grate, but once we make it on the other side, we need to be together, you know, to kind of run away or to get away. Okay, so what our body does is it chews things, breaks things down into small pieces, but then it builds it back up on the other side. So we could be like us, you know, finding a metal bar, maybe we dislocate our shoulder or cut our shoulder off. Sounds a bit gross, but let's say we cut our arm off. Okay, we get through the grate, but then we want to reattach our arm. Okay, so we take a triglyceride molecule, we break it down, we chew it, and then we build it back up. So when we eat fatty foods, or when we eat foods in general, they're going to be stored in fatty tissue or adipose tissue in our bodies in something called a triglyceride. What does it mean? Real easy. Tri is 3, glyceride is glucose-based molecule. So what it means is we have 3 fatty acids bound to a glycerol molecule. Okay, and that's stored in our fatty tissue around our body. So here's some scary stuff to know about fatty tissue in our body. We have unlimited storage. Okay, unlimited storage of fatty tissue. So you go on Google and you see those pictures. Unfortunately, those people, well, I don't know what to say about it, but they weigh 500 kilos. And the only question comes into mind is, how does someone get to 500 kilos? And the way they can get to 500 kilos is because we have unlimited fat storage. We can just keep going and keep going until something unfortunately bad probably will happen. So when it comes to fat, we have unlimited storage, number one. Number two, our fats are stored in our fat cells, and when our fat cells get full, they divide. Okay, so not only do we have unlimited storage, but we also have unlimited amount of cells which divide, and we can't get rid of these cells. Anyway, that's another point. So this leads on to another question which a lot of people talk about is, do carbohydrates turn into fat? Well, based on what I've told you about triglycerides, the answer is yes. If you were to eat 500 grams of rice and 500 grams of Mars bar, what's going to happen is the rice, the carbohydrate, it's going to be going through our bloodstream, it's going to go to our brain, go to our muscles, and it's going to go to our liver. Okay, so we're going to use it, number one, and then we're going to store it in our muscle and our liver. Now, if we've got excess, our body's not just going to throw it away. Okay, nobody wants to throw glucose away. Okay, it's good stuff. So our body's going to take those molecules, they're going to form triglycerides with the Mars bar fat, saturated fat from the Mars bar, butter's in there, whatever, and we're going to store it. Okay, it's a lot more complicated than that, but that's a basic idea that our body is not stupid. Okay, if we were on an island, okay, and you had a bowl of rice and 500 Mars bars, our body's not going to say, oh, there's going to be heaps of food in the cupboard. No, our body's going to want to retain that energy. It makes common sense, yeah? Okay, if you're stuck by yourself, if you're in the desert, you want to conserve and you want to store energy. It's a very smart thing to do. So the only reason it's a problem is because we live in a world where food is accessible. 1,000 years ago, even 100 years ago, obesity wasn't an issue because you couldn't just order Uber Eats. These things didn't exist. Everybody worked on a farm. Everybody worked, or maybe not 100, maybe say 200 years ago, everyone was in agriculture. Okay, so everyone was working off these things. So even if you did eat fat, it didn't make a difference because you were working for 12 hours a day in the farm. Okay, so these issues of overweight and obesity, they really are modern day issues.